Hi, I'm Peter Cowan, the Bee Whisperer. This, back in the Hampden yard in Western Hampden, where the bees have not had much of a honey flow here, and I'm going to pull the plug on honey production in this particular yard in order to make sure we have bees getting ready for winter. I say it's now the 3rd of September, or is it the 4th? I can't remember. I'll check when I'm editing. But the hives have not accumulated much honey in the last 2 weeks or so, and so what we'll be doing is making sure that the honey that they do start to collect between now and frost is going into the brood chambers, and I'm going to make sure that they're getting fed. So in order to feed them, I've got to take the honey supers off. So or unless I'm feeding individual ones with no honey supers on. But at any rate, what I'm going to do is take honey supers off where I can and start the yard getting fed. So let's see where it takes us. So just get some smoke around in all of the hives just to keep everybody calm, because this will tend to stir things up. We may use bee escapes depending on how many bees we find in the honey supers. We might be able to brush them off. Right. So we'll start off with some of these hives I know don't have a great deal in them. Start over here. Pretty full of bees. Good, we'll see what we've got here. See, the honey that is there is capped up. This has got next to nothing in it, so this will be an easy one just to shake out and brush out the bees. There's very little in here, a couple of pounds perhaps. I could probably get rid, I got 90% of them out that way. That's already an empty. Got a bit of mite treatment to take off. So this hive is ready to go. I'll put feeders on with that. Actually, Jordan, do you mind if you go and get a couple of some inner covers and the feeder? And the feeders, you could maybe fill up a feeder. We'll show what we're going to do here. In the meantime, I'll work on some more. So I'm going to have a quick look inside the brood chamber. We've got a broken frame in here, which is why it's lower down, but I'm not going to disrupt things. This frame is broken down here, so I'm just going to avoid that one. I'm going to have a look and see how the rest of this colony looks in terms of its preparedness for the winter. This outside frame is pretty empty, as was the honey super, of course, so there's nothing in there food-wise. This frame is empty of honey as well, so these bees are in fact starving. Damn, if they're not starving, they're damn close to it. They are in desperate need of me doing this work. There is brood in here. We've got a nice little cluster of brood, but we have no honey. This is pretty dry. Brood in there doesn't look wet and shiny. It's mostly captured. There's only a tiny bit of open brood. And the queen is literally shut down her egg laying, because there's the queen right here. Queen's in great shape, but we have no honey in this at all. So I feel guilty not having done this last week. So there is no honey in here. We've got brood, a nice brood nest, They have plenty of room of drawn out comb to put the food when we put the food in there, but these are in desperate need for some food. Dump it. Okay, go ahead. Fill up the sugar syrup there. So what I'm going to do is set up a hive top feeder with a bucket. And these bees are going to have a nice treat. So yeah, as much, fill them right up to the top there. That another ½ inch would be good on these. There's a bit of sugar syrup in here. It's just going to go straight into the hive. It'll soak a few bees, but it's not going to hurt them. Okay, so now this hive has got a gallon of sugar syrup. This is at about 1 to 1.8, so it's nearly a 2 to 1 sugar syrup, and this colony is in urgent need of it. I'll bet they take that bucket down in about 2 days. There's a gallon bucket there. This, right now, what we're going to do with these, there's no handles. It's one of the pain in the neck supers I acquired from somebody else. We've got the queen excluder on it, so we'll take the queen excluder off. Oop, all over me. All we can do is we put a cover upside down over here. Put it so you can take those frames out and just brush the bees in here, and we'll close up. All the bees are staying nice and calm. Each time, the best technique for getting bees off with the brush is, rather than brushing, it's very close to what you're doing, but just a flick. And just for now, we'll just put it to one side so you've got the room. So you carry on. Okay, and in the meantime, this one. Virtually no bees in here, so this will be an easy one. Some bees, not much. See, some of this where the super is only partly filled, like this one I just took off, maybe it's 5 to 10 pounds in it. None of it's capped, of course, but all the honey's been in there for the last 2 to 3 weeks at least, and so it's all cured, but there's never got enough of it to take it off, to cap it up. So eventually, when you get to that being emptied, Jordan will just put a cover on, and we're going to put the recessed bit on the top. Sorry, we're going to put it like this way up. And if there is an entrance, put it at the front. This one doesn't have an entrance. Is there sugar syrup in this one already?
Yes.
Oh, but you know what? You chose the one that's all propolized over this lid. Oh, okay. Oh, watch. See, it doesn't even drip. So they actually sealed this up. So in this particular case, this lid had been used last year and they covered it with propolis and wax, and so now it doesn't work, and I have to take that off and clean it. But if we put a different lid on it, it should be good.
What is nothing came through.
Yep. And then we'll take the supers that are mostly full of honey, or all the supers, we'll take them over to the car. It's likely to have bees rob. So now this hive has the queen has clued her off. The bees are there. We'll put cover on, and this one is ready to be fed as well.
The fence, I was grabbing the cover there, but it was touching the fence.
Oh, that you got shocked from. That's the disadvantage of having a foil back cover. It will conduct the electricity through the electric fence. I hope that was on the camera. Was it? Oh, maybe. I'll just see you jump a bit. I think it's just off the camera. So, Jordan. There was a foil cover that was touching the electric fence. Jordan picked up the foil cover and got zapped. Poor Jordan.
It's a hard look.
The things you do for bees, hey? Okay, I think this box is going to need the same thing.
Shaky?
Yeah, so I would suggest that we shake it off.
Ready.
At least this one we're going to get a super honey off it, mostly. In fact, one or two of the hives are going to benefit from having bees put in the shakes them into another hive. It's not going to hurt. What we can do. This one had rather fewer bees. There's plenty of house bees here. So what we can do. Quite a few are coming out. But you can put them here. But you can let the hive next to it have some as well. All of these hives will put these bees to work. They're going to end up, some hives will end up like this one with a lot of bees for the size hive. And that will kind of waste some bee resources. So what we're effectively doing is moving some of the bees into the other hive. And you can see just walk right in. And there'll be very little fighting. And sort of equalize the strength one last time before they go into the winter. Okay. Use a smoke just to clear up some space. The joys of taking honey off the hives in a dearth. There's a robbing frenzy going on here. So what a pain in the neck that is. Okay, those can go in the back if you shake the bees off them. So all the hives are now condensed down to singles. They have a gallon of sugar syrup on each one. Each hive has a gallon of sugar syrup. We'll come back and top that up in a few days. That gallon of sugar syrup will keep things going in the brood chamber, and they'll start to store things. But I would say that each colony is going to need roughly 6 to 7 gallons because they're pretty dry. It may be a lot less, but we have some surplus bees on some for sure, and they will be put to work storing that sugar syrup. And of course, if there is a little bit of a honey flow, they're going to be bringing in plenty of pollen, plenty of nectar into the hives. So this hive is now getting ready for winter early because there's no honey flow in this area. So when the honey flow disappears and there's not much prospect of one in that area, then it's best to get your honey supers off, what little honey there might be, and get your feeders on. And try to do it in less than 20 minutes. Otherwise, this is what happens. Roughly 20 minutes it takes them to find the supers and start telling their friends about it in sufficient numbers to give you a pain in the neck. What we're going to do is stop a couple of times along the way home, let the bees fill up, leave, and then they won't be able to find their way back to the truck because the truck will have moved on. All set, Jordan? Okay, we can close the gate and we can get going then. So there we have it. Lots of robbing taking place. So this also will take place in your barn if you're not very careful. So if you leave any doors open at this time of year, this is the sort of thing that you're asking to happen. And I've seen it happen before, and my wife will testify to that. Anyway, I'm Peter Cowan, the Bee Whisperer. See you next time.